Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Today, we're continuing our ongoing coverage of the civil war and the fragmentation of the former state of Ethiopia. And today, what we're looking at is recent actions by the future dictator-in-chief, the tyrant, Abiy Ahmed. Now, it looks as if Abiy Ahmed is looking to dissolve all regional forces in the various regions of Ethiopia. That includes the Amhara region, that includes Oromia. Right now, all regions in Ethiopia, the area is controlled by Abiy Ahmed and his proxies, have regional, quote-unquote, special forces. These, in reality, are light infantry forces that are under the command of the individual regions inside of Ethiopia. What is happening now is Abiy Ahmed is dissolving those forces. So essentially you will see three armed groups that report directly to Abiy Ahmed. And that will be obviously the Ethiopian National Defense Forces, aka the Abiy Loyalist Forces, the Republican Guard, and the expanding Republican Guard, again, based off what we observed in Iraq, Syria, other nation states that have these Praetorian Guard forces that keep the dictator in power, that watch over the regular armed forces in case of a coup d'etat, and then obviously provide protection to the dictator. And that is what the Republican Guard is used for inside of the Abiy Loyalist forces. It's expanded beyond just a security force for Abiy Ahmed, but also acts as a counterbalance to the regular armed forces. And then finally, the third force is the federal police forces. And it looks like these regional forces will come under the command of the federal forces, possibly the federal police forces, which gives them over to Abiy Ahmed. So Abiy Ahmed will control all regional forces, which will essentially become possibly federal police forces or just disbanded entirely. But again, this is the continued grip on power that is expanding by Abiy Ahmed after the disastrous civil war that is taking place and essentially is still going on in the Oromia region. We have a temporary cessation of hostilities in the Tigray region, and in all probability that will restart at some point. When that will occur, difficult to say. But again, that grip on power, as we have discussed before, in which we are seeing the Abiy regime turning into a unitary one-party state with the Prosperity Party. Again, all political parties now have to fall under the Prosperity Party, for which Abiy Ahmed controls. So again, just this gravitational pull towards a dictatorship, and again, we have had reports that Abiy Ahmed desires to be the longest-serving African dictator in all of Africa, and he has said so at official meetings. So it's interesting to see what is happening right now on the ground. It's interesting to see what will happen in some of these regions, especially the Amhara region. Are the Amharan regional forces going to comply? Are they going to dissolve their special police forces? Will we see the same thing in Oromia? Difficult to say. But again, this is just a classical power move by a future-facing dictator everything that Abiy Ahmed is doing right now indicates that he wishes to move away from any sort of democratic processes inside Ethiopia to more or less a one-party, one-person dictatorship. And again, down here I have marked this area, the Mirab Abiya concentration camp. And this is an active concentration camp that is being used to house ethnic Tigrayans that have been rounded up in Addis Ababa and other places of the former state of Ethiopia. And this place is actually, this concentration camp has greatly expanded. This is not a updated map. But again, this is now an area that is being utilized to house ethnic Tigrayans and political prisoners of the Abiy Ahmed regime. So again, the dissolution of regional forces, the continued grip on power and instruments of power by Abiy Ahmed. Again, we will now see just one armed group in Ethiopia that will be controlled by Abiy Ahmed, or a multitude of armed groups, all of which will be controlled by Abiy Ahmed, the Republican Guard, ENDF, and the federal police forces. So again, what will happen? Will this lead to further conflict? Will some regions refuse this edict by Abiy Ahmed to dissolve regional forces? And again, the decision-making process of Abiy Ahmed has to be questioned. He has propelled the former state of Ethiopia into a disastrous multi-region, multi-ethnic civil war, civil wars within civil wars, in which tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people have been killed. So we will continue to monitor the situation and report. Thank you for joining us today. More to come. Have a good day.